It's a funny story how the name Two Smoking Assholes came about. My business partner is my little brother. And for a long time, we always been business partners. Me and him always started companies. Um, Growing up, we always did things together and made money together. A few years ago, about 7 years ago, we partnered up on a thing, and it went wrong, and we fell out and stopped speaking for a little while. And when we finally started speaking 7 years later, which was actually this past summer, um, he told me he thought I was a genius, which was like, whoa. And I felt stupid for not talking to him so long. And we decided that we were going to try to open up a business together. We was thinking about doing a food truck and decided that we'll probably do a restaurant. And he was like, what are we going to call it? And I'm like, well, why don't we call it Two Smoking Assholes? And he said, I love it. So I tried to fix it up a little bit, and that's how we came up with the name. So our logo came about. I found a guy on Pfizer, an artist that did drawings. And I sent him a picture of my grill. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to make me a logo, yada, 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 whoop, 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 whoop. The name of my company is called Two Smoking Assholes. He fell out, started laughing. He was like, I got an idea for you. And later he sent me a sketch of the logo. I was like, man, that is crazy. And I told him I liked it. He said, let me put some color to it. I showed it to my brother. My brother flipped out. He said, I'm the one that smoke, and you the one that don't smoke. So then the guy, I asked him, could he do other things because I was trying to turn these images into our brand. So he drew about 9 or 10 different figures. You know, this one right here is with brisket, and this one is with ribs. He did a couple of more with lamb. One right here with chicken, you know. And then I didn't like it plain, like he was just standing there with the chicken in his hand. I was like, man, add some flair to it. So he put the donkey stepping on the chicken, the lamb next to the lamb, you know, the pig tied up on the ground next to the ribs. You know, I really love the cow with the funny look on the cow after somebody that cooked the brisket. Dope.
Well, it's been going it's been going okay. We just have to weather the storm, make it past winter, and we lining our ducks in a row, trying to get things in order for the summer. I would say it's a hard road, but my biggest fear is to let my family down. That would be my biggest fears. I mean, we got a lot of repeat customers, and they really enjoying the food. We have this one customer, Carla. She comes in every day, no matter what, and get our special. She really been supporting us a lot. We just hope to make things better and more quicker for the customers and make everything go smoother. You can't give up, you can't quit, you just got to keep going. I consider myself as Mayweather. I just adapt to whatever obstacles throw in my face. I'm going to adapt to it and keep it moving. But they're not going to stop me.
So I get here about 5:30 in the morning and go beast mode. Crazy story is I used to work for a catering company back in the end of 2016, early part of 2017. We used to cater for it was nothing to cater for like 2,000 to 4,000 people at a time. And in this company, we had a bunch of A and B cooks. And the A and B cooks never really cooked. All they did was like pretty much prep. So they are prepped for the chef. And it was me and a couple of other chefs. The head chef, I was a sous chef. And the chef, I was the only one in the building, I believe, that was educated. So the chef used to put all the work on me. At any given time, I would walk in and it'd be a whole pallet of carrots, and he'd make me cut that whole pallet of carrots. Sometimes it would take 5 hours to cut that whole pallet of carrots, and he complained about it, like that my time was too long. And after a while, I started zoning out, and it'd get to a point to where I can do a whole pallet in like 2.5, 3 hours. So after that, he used to make me do like pallets of chicken. I had to thaw the chicken out, pre-cook the chicken, and then put it in this big old walk-in. The walk-in was bigger than like a 7-car garage. And I used to have to just wheel that stuff in there 2 days before the actual event. And again, these events used to be out of control. 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people. And we used to use so many different dishes, real glassware, plates and silverware. One person might use 14 different dishes during that event. Now, I never really had to jump into the dish pit unless I wanted to stay over and get overtime, but I used to pretty much have to do all of the cooking, and it just made me an animal. I'd walk in one day and I might have to do 4,000 sandwiches by myself, and I just come in and just go crazy on them sandwiches. I was making a pretty decent amount of money. So, the average person would want to quit, but because of my education and because I was taught to never give up, to never quit, I would always just push myself through and get the job done. Plus, I knew in my mind how much money I was getting paid every hour. I wouldn't quit that job for nothing in the world. One day during an event, I was on a prep table cutting, and a 10-gallon stock pot fell from on top of the table. I'm gonna say about 7 to 8 feet above my head. I was like cutting real fast, shaking the table, and the pan fell in my knife hand. And I didn't cut myself because I had a knife in my hand, but it twisted my hand and the bone popped out of my wrist. I went to the emergency room, and the emergency room sent me to see a specialist. And a few months later, I was taken out of work, and I ended up having a couple of surgeries on my wrist. So every now and then when I'm working in a restaurant, I have to shovel coal, carry heavy pans of ribs, heavy pans of chicken, throw that stuff on the smoker. My hand tends to throb and ache. So some days I'm not supposed to really work with my brace on, but a lot of times I find myself working with my brace on. I throw my brace on and throw my glove over my hand and cover the brace a little bit and just keep pushing through. But, my pain level throughout any given day is always at a 5, 6, or a 7 throughout the day. I'm constantly in pain, but I love doing what I'm doing. And after my first surgery, I was told that I wasn't going to be able to do this no more. And when they gave me my second surgery, we had a lot of hope that I was going to be able to continue the cooking. But I was also told that, it was a fair chance that I would make it back to the kitchen. But after a year or so, a couple of years of therapy, of pain management, getting shots in my neck and all type of crazy stuff, I found my way back in. For the most part, this thing is it's difficult, but I love serving people. I love doing what I'm doing. I was trained to love it instead of hate it. That's why I could come in and I could cook on Thanksgiving, I could cook on Christmas, I could cook on New Year's, I could cook on Easter, I can cook on any one of those holidays and celebrate the holiday after the holiday is over, because that's how I was trained. Yeah, the whole thing with the flowers, growing up, my grandmother was an avid gardener. And believe it or not, my grandfather passed when I was 8 years old, and my grandfather was a crazy gardener too. Around 7 years old, my grandfather had a garden at his brother's house, which was like 3 or 4 blocks away from my grandparents' home. And he used to walk me around the corner, and I used to help him work in his garden. When he passed, when I was 8, I started helping my grandmother in her garden. I moved in with my granny, and I started helping my grandmother in her garden. And every summer, we got out there and we went to the flower store. We bought flowers for the yard. And, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of flowers, and just planted them all over the place. And I got out there and did our own gardening. And now this is it's a part of me. The cooking, the flowers, cooking, period. All of that was a gift to me from my grandmother.